Welcome. This is Diane from Faithart Design Studio. And this video, we are going to be looking at the Hallelujah Heart Bible study. We are starting November 3rd. I'm wondering if you are as tired as I am of taking Bible study notes that kind of disappear into a binder. We're going to be looking at Psalm 136, and we're going to be taking lots of notes, and we're going to be going through the inductive Bible study method. And so we know that when we engage our hands, the truth of God's word goes deeper into our hearts. So for the Hallelujah Heart study on Psalm 136, we are going to be creating a hidden tab binding treasure journal. This is my prototype, and what we're going to be creating is like a hidden tab binding treasure journal. See, I'm going to quickly flip through it and show you. Debbie and I are going to be each having a how-to video. This is my how-to video on making Hallelujah Heart for Psalm 136. Well, let me show you what is in this kit. As always, there is a cover page. I recommend that you print the first 4 pages, and I'm going to show you why. Because this kind of walks through the overview of the Hallelujah Heart inductive Bible study that we're going to do. Our second page is extremely important. Please print this. Just print it on copy paper, because this kit, there's very specific pages outlined to do specific things. So you want to know what page it is, what kind of paper to print. Should you print borderless if you're able to? And we were very detailed in this, okay? So make sure you print page 2. And then on page 3, we've got the inductive Bible study method. We're going to give you an overview in the kit. And then on page 4 is a study schedule. So it's going to have the dates that the videos are going to come up, okay? Now, Debbie did a wonderful job. She decided to make us toppers, okay? And you can see that I've chosen a gold one. And in this kit, we've given you 3 options. You can do the teal color that coordinates. There's the gold. And then we also did a wine version, okay? So there's 3. So you pick one that you are drawn to and want to make. And then there's one page that you would print 2 times, or you could use this page. These are the 2 pages for covering the journal. Now you can see I chose the teal stripe with the leaves for the back and then the gold for the front. And again, all the printing instructions are in there. I'm just showing you the actual papers, okay? That's that paper. And then in the kit, we've given you this piece of paper that you want to print 2 times, because that's going to be on the inside, and it's a beautiful complementary design that we've put in there. So that's that. And then we gave you a page that you want to print double-sided. This is going to be the page that you are going to do a series of folds, and this is how we're going to be making our tab journal. You're going to make this out of that, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this video. As always, we've given you the actual verses that we're doing, and what we decided to do this time was put it kind of in a pretty background page. So you choose if you want the ESV version or if you want the New King James Version. We've made them pretty on both. I printed these on cardstock because I'm going to cut these and I'm going to put these actually in my journal. Now, here is the entire Psalm 136. Here is Psalm 136, and Debbie has asked us to just do the verses without the second line, which basically says every single time his steadfast love endures forever. We've removed that, and we're going to walk you through the inductive Bible study method of why it's a good way to actually study that. So there's 2 pages for each ESV or New King James Version. Okay. And then we had so much fun. We made these gorgeous, what we're calling our collage pages. And there are 6 of these. Okay. And so there's 2 teal. Okay. And then we made 2 we call our caramel colors. Aren't they gorgeous? And then we have two that are the wine or maroon shades. Now on this, again, you're going to read your instructions. I'm going to walk you through that. You print this and then you're going to print a backer on that because we're going to be using double-sided. If your printer does it automatically, great. If not, I feed mine back through because you're going to pick the pages that you want on the back of those 6 pages. Okay. And let me show you all of the ephemera. We have given you so much ephemera that you're probably not even going to be able to use it all in this kit. Okay. We've given you gorgeous tags. Look, 2 different color schemes, 2 different types of tags. Here's some tall tags that you can insert into your journal. Here's some totally plain tags if you want to do that, if you want to write your notes. We've made some small little envelopes. And then Debbie did this phenomenal job, like she always does, giving us tags with specific wording that we're going to be studying. So she's already printed it out. Okay, so there's some large ones, there's some small ones, then there's some more pieces of ephemera that you can cut out to add to your journal. I made a series of hearts because we're talking about Hallelujah Heart, right? There's a series of heart cards that you can cut out. And then what we decided to do is also give you, now this word Fetty is the ESV version, but that way if you wanted to just put the first line on one of your pages, that would work. And then as always, from when we did the Exploring Joy, Debbie made us mini tags that are kind of project tags, what we call them, because it talks to you about what the project is about, what are the dates, hosted by, and then just another one for his Hesed endures forever. And so you've got that, you've got 2 of our logos in there. And then because we're going to be doing the inductive Bible study method, we decided to add some specific wording as ephemera that you can just cut out because we're going to do observation, interpretation, and application are the 3 main steps for inductive Bible study. And then we've given you some other ways to just add some wording if you don't want to just write it out. And then we've given you 10 numbers because there's going to be 10 videos. Debbie's made some more of these fun. So this is all just like word art that you can use. We've made tickets and some more fun fussy cuts that coordinate with the kit. And we had to add praising women because that's what this is all about for this study. Okay, so there's those cards. We've made some fun postcards that are going to fit into the kit. Also, Debbie's made us some pockets, and we've got that. Okay, so there are tons of pages of ephemera in this kit. And then I've already double-sided this. Now, in this project, what you're going to see is our collage pages are like our folder holders, okay? And then in here, we're going to have little mini folders that you're going to put in, and I have to trim these down so I can't really show you. But what we've done is, let me just tell you this, we've given you 10 pages of note taking. And what we've done is we've added dots, we've added lines, we've added lots of different ways that you can write notes on, okay? So here's some of the pages. I'll just quickly flip through them. And I've already double-sided. You do want to double-side print these pages, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to fold them. These are going to be our little booklets that will house all of the notes for this study. Now, I've gone ahead and made 20. There's 10 pages. You can do them print twice. You can just print once. It's up to you how many pages you're going to be putting into your little notebooks. So you can see some of these have been printed twice, okay, but they're all together. So that's what that's going to look like. So we're going to take these, you're going to have them double side printed, you're going to fold them in half, you're going to have to trim them a little bit to fit into the pockets, and then this is where we're going to take all of our notes. And as I just showed you, some of the hold on one second. Well, I'll get back to it. I'll show you this. So this is where we're going to be doing. So like your first page, we're going to be talking about observation. So you could cut that out and you could put that on there, and then you're going to write all your notes. So that's the overview of the kit. And let's get into the instructions are how to print. So you're going to go ahead and download your kit, print your kit, and then I'm going to walk you through how we are going to actually make this beautiful hidden tab junk journal. Let's start with our cover. You need 2 pieces of cardstock, and the weight of it is up to you. I'm going to recycle some Cheerios boxes. The size that you want to cut your cardstock to, the cover is 5 3/4 by 8 3/4, and that's slightly larger than our pages because we're going to use the 8.5 by 11 page. So you see how it's just slightly larger around there. So that's what we're going to do. And you need 2 pieces, of one for the front and one for the back. So first I'm going to trim this and make it nice and straight because I cut it with scissors. Okay. And let's move that there then. And we're going to come across, and I said it's going to be 5 3/4 wide by 8 3/4. Excuse me. You know what? I want to trim this, just that little edge off. Okay, we're going to do that. And then I said 8 3/4. So I'm going to go right there. There's my first one. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing with this. Start with a nice clean edge. Let's turn that off. And now we come over here, 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. And we have our 2 pieces for our cover. I'm going to cover my cardboard cover. And for this one, because I'm making a second one, I decided to use the purple, well, wine color, maroon, whatever the color is. I just thought that would look great. So I've got that ready. So pick your topper and get that cut out. Get your 2 pages. And I just printed this on copy paper. Okay. And it doesn't matter. It won't show through is my point. Okay. So I can just glue it like that. We're going to glue that together. And I, of course, use stick glue for this. And then I'm going to add my Prit on, no, excuse me. Yeah. My glitter glue on the edges is what I typically do. So you just want to put it wherever. It doesn't really matter, does it? No, it does not. We just want it to be glued together. Get the second one ready, and then I'm going to show you how you just can trim the edges very easily. There we go. Let that one dry. Move this over here, and I'll show you the trick to doing this. Get your scissors, and if you go ahead and trim, I don't trim actually to the point, just a slight, there we go, just a little bit off. You're going to see how nicely this folds together, and you make a really nice cover for our beautiful journal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold them over like that. See how simple this goes together? You definitely want to use force. I mean, you want to make nice creases is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and then we're going to put that on there. That'll be nicely creased. That one, there we go. Once you get it right to the point, it just works in really, really nice. Now this is where I'm going to use my glitter glue, just to make sure that it all goes together really nice on the corners. You want to make sure you pull it over nice and tight. There we go. And do the same thing. So you want to get your edges. There we go. Same thing here. It's fun making this because I know what's going to be happening is you're going to be crafting along with me. And that's the fun part. I shouldn't say crafting. Creating. Let's use that word. You are creating out there in your home. And I hope you're getting excited about participating in this Bible study, because Debbie has just outdone herself this time. And I'm really excited. See how pretty that looks? Nice and neat. I'm really excited because I've done the inductive Bible study method. I won't tell you that I'm an expert or that I've done it a lot of times. I am excited that we are going to actually be doing this whole study from the inductive Bible study method. So you're going to get to practice if you already do it, or maybe you're brand new and you don't even know what that is. You're going to learn how to do. And that is a way, as we always talk about, going deeper, right? Going deeper in God's word through a way to understand his word, the observation, okay, the interpretation, and then the application. I'm really good at the application part. I'm not always as strong in the interpretation part. So I personally am excited about doing this with all of you. And as I mentioned, the best part is all of your study notes for this verse are going to be in this gorgeous little, I don't want to say junk journal. I like the word treasure journal because this is a treasure, right? Anytime we have God's word and our notes becomes a treasure. There we go. Our last fold over. There we go. Get the glue off of everything. And it doesn't matter what this looks like, because this is the part that we gave you that we're going to put on the inside covers. Okay. So there's our two covers. And now all I have to do is put on the front and the back. Now I do want to ink this up first. So let's go ahead and do that. And we've got that. And then the way that I did this, as I used this really wonderful fiber, I'm going to use it exactly again because it works even though it's the purple one, right? And so what I did was I glued this down first and then I glued that on. So that's what we're going to do. Do I have it dark enough? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's edged enough. There we go. Maybe sometimes it doesn't always get that dark. And I love that Debbie added those really pretty, as if we had the metal corners on there. I don't own any of those. So I'm glad that I have it. I have the look, but I didn't have to go try and find them or buy them. And I love that we made the toppers, because so many times I end up spending a lot of time on the cover. And what we want you to do is we want you to spend time in the Bible study, right? So having these beautiful toppers that tell the story of what this is all about is wonderful. There we go. We'll put that one on. This one all set up. Let's just put those side by side. And that looks good. Okay, but let's see. Is it going to go through? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just putting the smallest bead around there. Now you might have some other fun stuff to use as an edge or something like that. I'm just showing you a really easy way to add just that little bit of texture, which gives it interest. course, it wants to curl, so come on, you lay down. A quick note, I wanted to let you know that you want to do your outside covers, okay? Don't put your inside on yet, and I'm going to show you why. When I made this first one, I went ahead and put that piece on top of there. And when you're going to be joining your fold, it ended up being on top. So don't put this inside on until after we put the journal together, okay? I mean, this looks okay. I just am going to do it underneath this time. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you understood that part. For this next part, we are going to be making our accordion piece that is our binding inside. And this is, I've just done it on white paper to show you. What you're going to need is you're going to need to trim the piece of paper that we gave you. First of all, print it double-sided and borderless if you can. If you cannot print borderless, go ahead and trim it. Your sizes are just going to be a little slightly bit off, but it's okay. It'll still work. So this is 8.5 by 11. You're going to cut it so it's 8.5 inches tall because all the paper is. We're going to cut it into a square. So I'm going to trim this on the long side to 8.5. Okay, so you want to trim the paper to 8.5. You can just save that piece. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to need a scoreboard. And what we're going to do, I'm going to just show you on here. We're going to come in and our first score on the left and our first score on the right is going to be 1.25 inches. So I've got this in here up against the corner. I'm going to score 1.25. And I'm going to turn the paper around only because it's easier to make sure that you're just doing 1.25 versus going backwards in numbers, which I'm not good at. Okay, so we've got both of our, we've got our 1.25, 1.25. Now what you're going to do is you are just going to score 1/2 inch all the way over to this next point. Okay, so we've got, there's 1/2 inch. I'm just going to speed this up. And we've got it scored. So now I'm going to set this aside. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to, now we're going to start folding and really making our scores. Okay, so there's our first one. So that very first line where you did the 1.25, you just want to make it like that. Now you're just going to have to watch me, and then you're going to have to practice and play. Okay, what I'm basically doing is I'm going to the second score and I'm pulling it over and then pushing it down that way. See how I'm doing that? Now I had to practice this, so my suggestion is get a piece of just plain scrap cardstock and practice it first so that you don't mess up your printed part. And then you're going to come to the next one and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pull it, you're going to fold it on that score, right? And you're going to go like that, and we're going to push it forward. Okay. And you're going to do that. And we're going to end up with 6. Okay, we want 6 accordion folds. Let me just kind of push it together and you'll see. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they each have a 1.25. That's what your goal is. So as I said, my suggestion is, because I had to do this a couple times, is to just do this on a piece of scrap cardboard first. And then once you get it, See, you're going to say, oh, that looks easy. And then you're going to start, you're going to be like, what? What are they saying? Because that's what happened to me. I had to go back to Debbie because this is Debbie's design. I think she got it from somewhere else, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I had to go back and she had to make a little video and show me because I was folding it totally wrong. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, there's the third one. And then I'm going to fold it again. Going to pull it together. Go over like that. Okay. And then you go to the next, that next line, and you go over like that. And then the next one goes over again. See, I'm almost done. And then, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, we're at one more. That one more. Hopefully you have nice cardstock. I just got this cardstock and I really like it. It's the Neenah, Neenah brand. And then the very last one, you want to just go ahead and do your score there so that it's flat. Okay, so basically, see how I did this? See, this is the way it's supposed to look. So it takes a lot of, there we go. And now I have mine all ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's it. Well, this is quite frustrating. I filmed all of my video during the day today and I'm editing it at night. And there is a 12-minute gap where there's no sound. I think what happened is someone called me on my phone while I was filming and it cut off my microphone. So sorry, I have to do a voiceover. Okay, let me get into what you're now seeing. We are now going to work on our collage pages. And what I'm showing you here is that on the original first one that I did, I used the back pages for the collage pages that were kind of the plain colors and matched them up. And then that's what I printed on the back in that journal. And you fold it in and then you have pockets. And so you can see the muted tones. Okay. Now, what I've decided to do for this next one was, wouldn't it be fun if I printed the collage on both sides? Because I realized I cut off parts that I wanted to see in the first journal. So that's what I've gone ahead and done. So I've run my pages through and I've printed whatever's on the front is now on the back. See the difference between the one I'm pointing to on the left, which is the like lined pages. So you can do whatever you want. I'm giving you 2 options for this journal. So you can see the first one that I finished, and now this one we're working on. Now, I did not trim my pages. I'm using 8.5 by 11, and obviously I print borderless. So what I'm doing right now is I'm deciding which way I'm going to fold it. And I finally realized after a couple seconds, it doesn't really matter because they're the same both ways. So what I do is I folded it in half, opened it back up, and then I scored at 8 inches from the, okay, so 8 inches from the left. And I'm now thinking, wait, is that what I want to do? Yes. Because the open part that will be attached inside the journal to that piece is the left side, and then it folds, okay, and there's where my fold would be, and then that piece I'm going to trim off. So that's approximately, if I scored it at 8 and it's 11.5, right? 8.5 by, no, it's 11, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 3 inches that I'm cutting off. So that's what I'm showing you that I'm doing. And then I went, oh, wait, let me match it up with the right side. So I went, oh, okay, so we're going to fold that one over into the middle, and then I'm going to score it because I already scored it. I'm just showing you how I'm kind of putting this all together. I'm so sorry that you would have heard my voice and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. Well, now I thought about, well, wait, do I want it on that side or do I want it on this side? So this is what you have to do when you're making this. You have to make your own choices. So I'm just kind of walking you through that. So see, I'm going to cut on that score mark, and that is at the 8, which means I'm cutting off 3 inches. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off. There, save those pieces because you can use them for ephemera pieces. So there's the left side. See how it's going to be, right? And now I'm bringing the right side in, and we're folding that from the right into the left, and I've scored it on the 8. You just didn't see me do it. And then I went, oh wait, but it's the exact same way. It doesn't really matter because I printed the same thing on both sides. It ends up working out easy. It was just this first couple ones that I was like, wait, what? Okay, so we're going to trim the 3 inches off of this one where I scored it at the 8 mark. Okay, so there you got another piece. Put that over there. Now let's match them up. So now what I'm showing you is how they're going to look in the inside of the book. And see how they each have a fold. So the left has a fold and the right has a fold. And now I'm getting the book back out to show you, is that the way I want it to look and how it's going to look. So see how, because I have different backing, see the difference? So just pick which one you want. That's basically what I'm showing you. You probably have more options. I'm just giving you 2 options. Now, the next thing, and here is where I ended up making a mistake. So I'm going to let you watch me, but then I'm going to tell you how to fix it. I fixed it the next one. So the way I watched Debbie do it, she measured to find the middle. So I was like, okay, well, that'll work. And I have a 2-inch punch. So I sit here and do all of this measuring. I went to the middle, which is what, 4 3/4, and I made a mark. And then I went 1 inch on each side of that, thinking that when I hold my 2-inch punch over there, it'll make it simple and I'll know exactly where to put it. And why am I doing this? Because these 2 pages kind of face each other, and in a way you want your thumb notch to be at the same level on both of the pieces. Now the funny part you're going to see is that I don't line them up, even though I did all this. So yeah, it's not perfect on these 2 sheets, but then I figured out how to do it. You'll see that next. So here I am lining it up and then making a mark 1 inch from the middle on the right and 1 inch from that middle point on the left. And of course, all that, as I said, it didn't really work. Okay. So then I turned that one, and here somehow it just, I don't know why this didn't work. It's the same height, and I'm putting the ruler in the same place. So why wouldn't it? But trust me, it doesn't work. Okay, get the 2-inch punch, Diane. Go ahead and punch it. See if you can line it up on those 2 lines that you just put. And it's not very deep. So right away I think, wait, what? Is that the way I wanted it? Okay, well, I already punched it. So now I'm punching the next one. And I put it on the lines. Okay, now let's lay them back together and quote, they should be the same. And look, they're not. Oh, so fun. I didn't do it right. See, one's there, one's there. Okay, so here we go. You know what? I was like, okay, forget it. I'm just going to make a bigger whatever. It's just going to have to work. As I always say, this is a handmade journal. So is it perfect? No. And there's no perfect police coming behind me going, oh, I measured that and it's wrong, Diane. So you just have to go with the flow. You're probably watching this going, yeah, Diane, all you had to do was punch the 2 pieces together, which, of course, that's what I figure out to do next. But anyway, okay, those 2 parts are done. Okay, so there's 2 blues already. So now we're going to do the 2 caramel pages. And I did the exact same thing. I printed the they're double-sided with the exact same print because I love the lion, the lambs, right? I wanted the lamb to show, right? Jesus, the lion, the lamb. So here I am. So what you do is you fold it in half. Now, Debbie might have done this different. She might have trimmed her papers. Obviously, everybody does it differently. So you can make it work, whatever. And if you don't have borderless printing, your pages are going to be a different size anyway. Now, see how I'm scoring at 8. Okay, and that's going to work. And then there's going to be our fold. That's going to be that page. See how that's going to work? So that's going to fold like that. That's going to be my left one. Then I get the right one out. And then oh, wait, I'll match it a different way. Doesn't matter, Diane, because it's the same one. So this ends up looking really good, to be honest with you. I'm happy that I did the second journal using both collage pages because Debbie and I had so much fun making these collage pages, and I wanted that beautiful, like, caramel colored rose to show. So it's just going to work out the way it's going to work out, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's going to be this. I should probably speed this up because this is taking way too much time. Okay, there's my fold in half, and then fold back. Yep. So I'm sorry this video ended up being long, but I will say it's very thorough. Since this is the first time I've really made this journal, quote, it's really the second because I already made one and I'm showing you. I didn't video and I didn't write down what I did in the first one. That's why I'm struggling so much with the second one. Because I had to start all over again and go, wait, what did I do? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I finally got those correct. So now let's trim those little pieces off, the 3 inches. So I get my trusty trimmer. We're going to trim those up, trim that extra 3 inches off. There's one trim. Okay, there we go. So there's my left hand. And now you see I'm excited because I just realized that the pattern matches up when you use it this way. So see, it's different, but it's fun and it does work. So we'll trim that one off. I'm going to trim 3 inches off of that one. And I don't know why I have to do these twice. I think I couldn't really see the score line. Okay, so there's the left, and now here's the right, and see how pretty they look together. And see on both sides, the print is matching up. I just think that's fun. Now, look. Okay, I set those aside, and we're going to do the 2 purple ones, and then I'm going to show you how I figured out how to do the thumb notch correctly. And then what I said was I decided that I want to put the maroon, the wine shades, I want those to be my first 2 pages, not the blue ones. So I'm changing the order in this second book. My first 2 pages are going to be these wine pages, and then the middle pages will be the caramel, kind of as a buffer. And then my teal pages will be at the end. So I fold them both in half, right? Open it back up and go ahead and score it. See, we're going to score on the 8, and then we're going to cut that 3-inch piece off. There we go. There we go. Got that one set. That one works. Yes, that's going to work like that, Diane. The next one comes over, and so we get to see the lady. And then I was like, but I really wanted the Bible to show. And at first I thought, oh, I'm going to have to cut it off. Oh, I didn't want to cut off the Bible. But guess what? It all works out. So fold it in half, like we did with all the other 5. We're going to fold it in half. And the Bible will be on the back, and that part's good. And then we're going to see how it's going to match. We're going to come over there. Yeah, see, I got excited because it worked out that you got to see the Bible. Okay, put that there, score that paper on the 8 inches. And see, it worked out good. And now I'm going to get my trimmer and trim both of the 3-inch pieces off. Okay, that one's all set. Moving a little faster now. Cut the 3 inches off, save the parts. That will go like that. Okay. So now this is where I'm explaining to you, I've decided that I want the maroon or wine shade to be my first pages, right? And here's where I figured out how to do the thumb notches. Look, all you have to do is line up those 2 side pieces together and punch them at once, and then they're both going to match. Don't ask me why I didn't do that the first one. Okay, but I figured it out, and now it works. Yay, yay, yay. There we go. Yes, Diane. Diane is happy now because Diane figured out how to make it work. So you just open it up, get those 2 folds, line them up, and use your punch, and you will have lined up notches. And there we go. It's time to begin the assembly. One of the things that I've done off camera, I'm just going to tell you, you would want to do before we start gluing the collage pages in, is I've gone ahead and used my distress ink, and I've distressed all around those pages and especially in through here. And once you do that to all your pages, which I've done, you want to make sure that you've done this part before you glue it. Then you're going to go ahead and glue your pockets all down. You're going to use a very thin bead of glue right on the edge, right? Because you don't want to take up any of the space to put our little booklets in. Okay, so I've got that. So all 6 of mine are now, the pockets are glued down. I've edged everything. The next step for you is you need to decide in what order you want your collage pages to go in. Now, in this book, I started with the gold. And so when I opened mine, I decided I wanted to do the blue. So in this, my order was blue, then caramel, and then the wine color. Because this second one that I'm making, I'm actually going to give this to my girlfriend so she can do it with us. The second one I'm making, I'm starting with the wine color. I decided to reverse that order. And my first page when I open my book is going to be my wine color, the maroon. So those are my first 2 pages. So you want to kind of have them in order. So I decided to do the fold is going to be on the right side because that's when you flip it over where you're going to have your pocket. Okay. The flat side is the side we're going to be gluing in. So I've done my first 2 and they're going to meet like that. Right. Then I decided to do the caramel in between. So they're going to be like that. And then I'm going to do the teal at the very back of the book. So get yours in your order. It'll make it much easier as we go forward. Okay. So let's set those aside. Now we're going to start putting those together. So the first one that you're going to do is you're going to leave your 1 1/4 inch there, right? We are going to take this open edge, right? There's no fold on here, okay? And we are going to lay it on top of that first, on the left side of the first fold. Okay, we're not gluing them from underneath. You don't need to do that. I'm going to use my glitter glue because it just makes everything really simple. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this apart just a slight bit, and I am going to put, now I'm going to put lots of glue on this, okay? Not just that thin bead. I'm going to do, in fact, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that off and make my life easier, especially with my bum finger. That way I get more glue, okay? And I'm going to push this flat edge, no fold, right into the fold on here. Line up your top and bottom, and then I'm going to pull that over and glue it down onto that page. See how I'm doing that? Now this is the way I'm doing it. Debbie does it different. We still end up with the same book, and you can do it differently too. I'm just showing you how I've done it and how it seems to be fairly simple to do. Okay, so there is our first pocket, and I'll flip this and you can see how that's going to go. Okay, so that's my first pocket on the first fold. Now my second one, I want to butt into there so it gets laid on the left side again of the second fold. And this is easy because there's only 6 folds and you only have 6 pockets. So that kind of makes it simple to do. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm not gluing it to the part that's already been glued down. I'm gluing it to, it's actually in my right hand right now, but it's on the left side of the fold. So just watch for a second, and I think you'll, again, I'm just going to pull it out slightly and put my glue on. And you want to put a good amount of glue on this part of it, okay? And then we're going to put it right in the fold again. Make sure it's lined up top and bottom. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pull that over and just put some pressure on it because glitter glue is really wonderful. Dries nice and fast and has a strong hold. Crease it a couple of times. And look, we've got 2 already done. And see how nice they look when they open up? My glue kind of came into the middle. So you see that you have the right side of the fold is what's in between there. And that's why we asked you or gave you the sheet that looked pretty that would coordinate with everything. Okay? So see how simple that is? There's 1 and there's 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do them. I'm not going to talk, and then I'll fast forward it because once you saw 2, you saw them all. Okay? So the final assembly part is 2 steps for you. Number 1, get out. Hopefully you printed this twice. This is what we recommended for the inside cover. Okay, so you need to trim it. Now, I could tell you my size, but if you didn't print borderless, yours is going to be a different size. So go by what your cover size is. And all you have to do is just lay it on and make a little mark. Okay, so you want to get both of those made. Oh, I moved it over there. You want to get both of those ready. Ready meaning trim them so they're ready, and then I've inked them. Okay, so we've got those. So set those aside. So that's the first thing to get ready. The second thing to get ready is, let me show you what we did. So on this one, I used some of this beautiful like light gold velvet ribbon, and we are going to attach that. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because it was so narrow. When Debbie did it, she used a fatter ribbon and I didn't have one. So I'm going to use 5 again because I've only got this thin ribbon. And look that I actually have. I'm so excited. So this one was on the gold and that looks good. This one I'm going to do with the wine color. Okay, so I don't want to throw that away. So you hardly need, you don't even need like 6 inches of this. Okay, because what we're going to do, let's set that aside for a second. So you see how we want to hold this together. If you don't do this step, you actually have a different kind of journal, which might work for you. It would end up being an accordion, right? Because if you don't secure those all together, let's pretend this is here, you could actually be kind of pulling it out a little bit and it would kind of fan out a little bit. But we are, the way Debbie and I are making this, we are securing it and we're adding the pretty pieces of ribbon, okay? So let me get my scissors and I'm just going from there to about there, which should be fine because I'm going to basically, see, we're going to just wrap it like that, but you need to leave it a little bit loose. And you definitely want to leave it loose for this journal because don't forget what is going to be going in these pockets. We're calling them the booklets. Remember how I showed you we're going to be taking, if you printed them on paper or cardstock, whatever you printed them on, okay, we're going to have these folded and we're going to have, this is where all of our notes are going to go. So it's going to get kind of thick and chunky. So the fun part and why we picked this design was it gave us a little leeway to not end up with a gator mouth. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. So what is this? I'll tell you how wide it is because a lot of people want to know exactly. Okay, I did it like 3 1/4. That's perfectly good. That's plenty for this journal because that gives me enough to leave a little bit of space like that. You see, let's see. You see how I'm doing that? Okay, so I'm going to do that. So let me cut 5 pieces like that. And then we'll glue those down before we glue them into, before we glue the covers on. Okay, and again, these don't all have to be perfect. 1, 2, 3. You can do as many as you want. Okay, 4. Like I said, if you have a wider ribbon that you're using, I just didn't have any ribbon that I thought looked nice. That's why I used this. That's why I went with 5. Okay, so let's set that aside over there for a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I am going to put some glue stick down first, and then I'm going to put some of the glitter glue on it. Let me move that a little bit so we have room and I'm in your camera. So I'm going to first apply it to the ends of this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not on camera. I apologize. There we go. Okay, so I've got that like that. And I'm eyeballing this. I am not going to measure this. Okay, that looks good enough for me. And then I'm just going to, again, leave that little bit of a, you know, the space. Actually, that's a lot of space, but that's okay. So we'll do that. Now let's do the middle, Diane. You can at least do it somewhat geometrically. So I'm just gluing up, putting the glitter glue, because you have a little bit more second to move it than I find with glitter glue. And I'm approximating that that's the middle. Yeah, it looks good enough. Good enough for me. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to have plenty of space. Okay, and then we'll put one more. See how it's holding it together? How nice it is. It's holding it together. Let's do it again. Okay, so I came in about 1 inch right there. So that looks about good. Yep. Now, if you're a person that has to measure everything, okay, don't get frustrated with me because I don't measure, I eyeball. These are handmade projects. When I say handmade, to me, that means, yeah, there's no perfect. And being a perfectionist, I have worked very hard to get to the place of making it okay with whatever I do is going to work. It's just going to work. Because there's nobody that's going to be taking a ruler to my book and saying, uh-oh, that's not exactly the right spot. Nobody's going to say that. It's my book. Okay, that one and one more. And that looks good. Okay, the glue on both ends. Now here's an instance of why the this Uhu glue is working good for this project. Prit is a little drier. It's not as creamy as that. And I know in other videos I've said I don't really like the creaminess. It's like too ooey gooey for me. So in a sense, there we go. That one should probably be up just a little bit. In a sense, this is actually the perfect glue for this little piece of the project, right? Okay, I've got my 5 on there, and I'm okay with that. Now, this is the back, so let's set that to the side. This is my front, right? So what we're going to do next is we are going to glue this piece, right, our 1 1/4 that we set. We're going to glue it right onto there, okay, with our ribbon hidden behind. And then we'll take our piece and we will cover all this. And see how nice that's going to look? Like a professional book. Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use the glitter glue because I got all these little parts and the ribbon and stuff. I'm going to put the glitter glue on there. Okay, so I got that. And this is the front, correct? And that's my wording is all correct. Don't forget, you always have to make sure you're doing it the right direction. Nothing worse than putting something together and then you find out the words were the wrong way. And then you kind of, I can see it and you can't, that it's close enough on there. Yep, and see I have just enough on that edge. I guess I could come a little bit closer. No, that's fine. No, wait, you know what? I think I do want it. Okay, so hold on. See that glitter glue works so good, so quick? Okay, hold on, I want to move it. What I didn't do is I didn't have that fold right on the edge of the cover. I had down just a hair, and I am going to move it back to there. There we go. Now I'm happy with that. It's right on the edge. There we go. There we go. So the front cover is on. Yes, and it's the correct way. Yes, it's correct. Okay. Looking good. Now we're going to do the back one the exact same way. Make sure you have this correct, that you're on the right, that all your writing is in the correct spot. And I'm going to put the glue on there. You can see I'm using a lot of glitter glue on this. And now I'm going to match this. I want this to be right on the edge. It's probably going to be difficult for you to see, but it's more important for me to get everything in the right spot. There we go. See, I want my edges to line up, which they are. So now, there we go. There we go. And see how pretty that is? And got plenty of glue there. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit, but of course on the camera it'll look like I just did this. I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then we're going to come back and add the 2 inside covers, and the journal will be complete. Then we'll start working on our little booklets. So we're going to let that dry, but see how pretty that's going to look? Yes. So let's let that. I'm going to glue in our inside covers, and I'm going to use my Oohoo. And then our journal will be all finished. And all we have to do now is make our little mini notebooks, and they're truly notebooks because that's where we're going to put all of our notes from our study. So, oops, that's showing a little bit at the top there. Let me cover it all. There we go. So there's the inside cover there, and we'll do the last one back here. Let me bend that just a little bit. There we go. Okay, I'll put the glue on this. And hopefully you've enjoyed making this. Maybe this is something brand new to you. This is the first time I've ever made this. This is a journal that Debbie made last year. And then she said, how about if we do that for the study? And I thought, I loved it when I saw her. So I was quite excited to do this. There we go. There's my back cover. So that is all finished. So there we go. Look how beautiful it is. There's our pockets. We're going to make our little notebook page, our little notebooks to go in next. But the journal is done. And as I mentioned to you, I'm going to quickly show you the difference. So in this journal, what I did was I printed the collage paper on one side and the same collage paper on the back because I loved the designs. And so in my insides of this one, you see the collage paper. What I did on this one is I printed the collage paper on one side, and on the back side, I used some of the accessory pages that we give you in the kit, so that's what you see in here. Either way works totally the way the way you want to make it, right? So you see the difference? So you're seeing all collage pages in this book. In this one, you're seeing some of the background pages. Okay? See how nice that looks? So we are ready to go. And that's the two different ways to make your book. Either way, they're both beautiful. What I've done, I've chosen that I'm going to use the ESV version of Psalm 136. And what I did is I only printed one side, and this had a border around it, okay? And so I've trimmed off all the border, and then I folded it in half, and I'm going to glue this together, and that's going to be now, I shouldn't say it. Maybe I don't want to glue it together because I don't know yet because I haven't started the study, okay? So it's ready to go. And then I did take there's the second page for ESV is the 136 without line B, so that you can kind of study that. Trim that the same way, and then I don't think I'm going to use it like a book. I think I'm going to probably use it like this. So I think I will glue these two pieces together, and then I've got my Bible verses ready that I can that I'll be ready to access and use. Okay, so I've got that ready. Now I'm thinking what I might do is I might make a pocket right here in the very front and stick those there, because our study is going to be about constantly using those verses. The next step for you that I've started to do, I'm not going to walk you through all of them, but the way this study is set up is that Monday, November 3rd, you're going to see a video from me, be 30 to 45 minutes, and I will be doing the first part of the observation Bible study for this psalm. Now, I want you to understand what we're actually doing. We are going to teach you, and we are all going to do together the inductive Bible study method, and we're going to do it with Psalm 136, okay? So unlike my Faith Windows, where we just have 7 verses and we look at the verse, this is an entire chapter or entire Psalm 136, and we're going to go in and look at observation. So on Monday, the November 3rd, my video will be about literary structure and kind of the repetition. And of course, if you've looked at the verse, you know how repetitive it is, because there is the second line of all 26 verses is exactly the same. In the ES version, it's for his steadfast love endures forever. So I'm going to be walking you through specifically what are we going to look at, and be 30 to 45 minutes max. And what will I be doing my notes on? This is what we're going to be doing our notes on. We're taking all those line pages that we talked about. You're going to print them double-sided. So each one of these is double-sided. You're going to, and I'm going to tell you how I did mine, but again, you have to measure, because if you couldn't print borderless, your pages are going to be different size. So I don't want you to use my measurements. Make them for your book. I decided that I'm probably going to need at least 2 pages. I'm not going to put these together until I do the first day's Bible study. So on Monday, November 3rd, there will be a video from me first thing in the morning. About a couple hours later, Debbie's video will pop up and she will do the second half. So they're not the same videos. We are not doing the exact same study. And then you're hearing two versions. No, you're hearing one version. I'm doing part of it and Debbie's doing part of it. So that will be two videos to watch, which will be approximately an hour for you to watch both of them. Then you're going to be doing all your notes. And so that's what's going to go in these little books. So there's 5 days, Monday, Thursday, next week, Monday, Thursday, and then Monday. Okay. So in that sense, there's 5 days, but 10 videos. So you might need one whole page for my video and you might need one page for Debbie. Maybe you need more. You can always add more because don't forget, we only made pockets on one side. We can add a pocket here and put lots more notes in. Okay. So get your lined pages out that you have printed on both sides. Now, what I figured out is mine needed to be a little bit less than 8 inches tall because this is 8.5. But don't forget when you put your glue on there, you're cutting off probably 1/4 of an inch. So maybe that's about 1/2 an inch, right? So I trimmed my pages for the height down to 8. And then when I stuck them in here, I realized that if you fold the page in half, it came right over the edge. So you have to trim, you're going to trim the height and you're going to trim the width. And so I've done that with these 2 pages. And so for right now, I'm not hooking anything together because until I started, I won't know. So what I've done is I've started getting, there's 2 pages for that side. There's 2 pages for this side. Okay, see how that works? And again, you have to make yours fit in your book by whatever size yours ended up being. So go ahead and get those little booklets ready. And then you will have your book all ready to go. And then we'll start the Bible study on November 3rd. So as always, I hope that you will like this video. Please give me your comments. What do you think of this style, this tab binding that we did? Do you like the kit? I think it's a beautiful kit. I'm excited to put all of my notes in. And the most important part here is that if you do this Bible study with us, we're teaching you how to make this beautiful binder, right? But you're not going to lose all your Bible study notes, which kind of happens to me a lot of the times. And so you're going to have all your notes for a deep dive into Psalm 136 in one beautiful journal. Hopefully you invite one of your friends to do this with you. As you saw, I made a template and then I made my second book. So I'm giving this to one of my friends who's going to do the study with me. I hope that you will like this video, that you will share this video, that you will invite people to this process. They can start on November 3rd. They could start November 15th. It doesn't matter because the Bible study will be available on Debbie's channel and on my channel. My video will be up on my channel on Monday the 3rd, and Debbie's will be up on November 3rd on her channel, Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. So until the next video, which for me will be, let's get into diving into our first session of observation on Psalm 136, looking at literary structure and repetition.